can execute a game plan off a day prep. I mean, I saw a stat in one of their games. I think they had 4,000 or 5,000 point scores. I think we have one on our team. So, I mean, talking college about veteran, experienced guys, I think it showed today. Obviously, feel for Javon. Don't know exactly what it is, but some significant knee injury. You know, I thought he was really ready to play. I thought he'd had a great few weeks of practice. He had a voluntary shooting deal last night. He was the only guy that went. Shot it really well. I thought he was ready to play in 3 minutes in the game. You know, he gets the knee injury, can't play the rest of the game. Life happens. Adversity hits, and then you got to, you know, face it. So, you know, we thought JD played well in his 36 minutes. You know, he didn't prepare like nobody thought he would have played 36 minutes as good as Javon was playing in practice. But, he had 9 assists, 11-9, and good game for a freshman in the NCAA tournament. We couldn't make shots. They made shots. Obviously, Cormac going 7 of 9 from 3 was a huge factor in the game. You know, he had 29 points. He's obviously really good, and we didn't play well enough to win. They were the better team today, and got to give them a lot of credit.
Questions for the student athletes, and point your question to one or the other or both. We'll start here.
Nick Kelly at the Tuscaloosa News. Keon, I mean, when Quinerley goes out, how does that change things for you guys in the starting lineup?
It was definitely a big loss. You know, he's the starting point guard, so I mean, he's a big piece of what we do. So we definitely felt his impact of losing him, but you know, just like I said, I mean, no one expected that like 3 minutes into the game. So then it just was JD's turn just to step up and, you know, fill that role. Like Oats said, just life happens, and you never know when your time is coming. So it was definitely a big loss for us.
Ryan Hennessy, NBC 13 in Birmingham. Coach, I know it just ended the game, but how would you define this season overall?
It was a successful season by a lot of standards. We're obviously a little disappointed. We thought we could have been a lot better. We were looking forward to making a deeper run than we made. We were the top 6 seed. The tournament committee had us as the 21st best team in the country, which 3 years ago when we got here, I think we would have taken that. But where we got to at some point in the year, we were obviously expecting better than this. You know, we think we're the only team in the tournament that's beaten 2 of the number 1 seeds. You know, we beat Baylor and Gonzaga. You know, so it's inconsistent, a little up and down, but, you know, we made the tournament as a 6 seed with a chance to advance. We just didn't play well in the first round. It's not easy. You see some other pretty successful teams in the SEC didn't make it out of the first round too, so it's not, or at least one other one. You know, it's hard. The NCAA tournament's tough. I mean, you know, Notre Dame's a good team. They're a veteran group, and they made shots. So overall, I'd say we had a successful season, just a little disappointed and a little inconsistent, to be honest with you. And the inconsistencies bothered all of us. All the fans were a little annoyed. The coaching staff, the players were annoyed. You know, some of our losses were really unacceptable, but we had some great wins. So I told the guys, let's try to remember the great moments of the season. Some of them will be back, some won't. The ones that are moving on, you know, we got some good memories from the year, and just disappointing end to it.
Keep the questions right now for the student athletes, please.
For Katie went to Bama Central. For JD, how did your mindset kind of have to change once JQ went down and you kind of knew you were going to step into that point guard role more? And how did your teammates kind of help pick you up in that scenario?
It was just kind of go out there and lead the guys and in all aspects of the game, and you know, they just helped pick my head up and just told me to go out there. Don't matter you're a freshman, just go out there and lead the guys and try to win this game.
Any other questions for the student athletes? You got one over here.
Mike Rodak with AOL.com. For Keon, I think you played 39 minutes, and Mike Bray had said it looked like some guys were exhausted out there because of JQ and losing his minutes. Just how did you feel physically in this game because of that?
I felt fine, honestly. I wasn't like all the way tired to where the point where I couldn't, I needed a breather. Just a couple of bang plays where your body is hurting a little bit, but I wasn't tired to where I needed a break. So I don't think I mean, like it's March, so you got to expect unexpected. He went down, and I just knew. A situation like that may come up, so I was down. I was ready for it.
For Keon, you finished as the leading scorer, but you got 10 of your final 16 points in the last 8 minutes of the game, and kind of weren't shooting a lot early. You've talked in the past about your teammates kind of telling you need to shoot more. Was it more you just felt like you weren't getting open looks, or you just needed to get kind of more confident as the game went on?
No, I think early on I passed up a couple shots that I should have shot. I think one time I turned it over, and coach and everybody else was telling me like I have to shoot that. So I think going into the second half, I was looking more so to shoot first than anything, and he told me if we were going to turn this around, they needed me to shoot the wide open shot. So I can't pass those up, and I just shot the good ones.
For Keon, was this a rally in a way at halftime when you went down and saw your teammate that didn't return? Did you guys rally together at halftime, kind of say something to him? What was that experience like in the locker room?
Yeah, we all pulled together. JQ, he even said something to us, just try to go out there and play for him. Like, I mean, if that's enough motivation itself, knowing, like, I mean, he probably was more ready to play this game than anybody. He's was practicing hard all week. He was intense. His talk was great during practice and everything. Came out ready to play, and just unfortunate that he went down. So I think, at halftime he really wanted to emphasize, like, like this game isn't over. Like, no matter the score or whatever, like, just keep playing.
Any other questions for the student athletes? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. And we'll continue on with questions for Coach Oats. Don't forget name and affiliation, please.
Joey Blackwell, BamaCentral.com. Coach, you talked all week about, you had 3 points of emphasis, reducing turnovers, making free throws, and making layups. What did you think about, your team's performance in those 3 categories today?
You know what? The turnovers, they weren't where we wanted them. They weren't as bad as they've been. We're somewhere in the middle. I didn't think we lost the game. We turned them over 18 times. They're one of the better teams in the country not turning the ball over. We only turned it over 14 times, but we couldn't convert at the rim. For whatever reason, we haven't been finishing very well. We had a lot of guys miss layups tonight. I think the official stats had us 11 of 22. Our guys charted at 18 of 34 on the games. It's not good. We had 16 missed layups. We needed to convert some of those. And then we didn't get to the free throw line enough. We only shot 7 free throws. We were 4 of 7. It's not a great percentage, but it's just such low numbers. We needed to attack a little bit better. And, we got down in the second half. We ended up taking a few more threes, and just, but we only shot 24 threes. That's less than we normally shoot. We just, for whatever reason, we didn't get to the free throw line much, and we only made 4 of 7. So our turnovers were probably good enough to win. Finishing wasn't good enough. We didn't get to the free throw line enough.
Dana O'Neill with The Athletic. When someone like Cormac kind of goes bananas like he did in that game, and, unexpectedly, how difficult is it to pivot when he's just shooting everything with hands in his face?
Yeah, shoot, that one second half deep with about a half a second on the shot clock, that was a killer. I thought our guys had gotten some energy, played hard. We had the tough call when Javon had the steal that we thought we were going to get a breakaway foul. I thought it was an intentional foul, and it went the other way. And our guys were resilient enough to hang in there. We played a great 29 seconds of defense, and he hit some crazy shot. Didn't do a good job. Then we gave him 2 in a row on sets we'd gone through how to defend, and we didn't defend them. We didn't play hard enough. Then you kind of got them going. That's the issue. When you got good players like that, you can't get them going by giving them transition buckets and then not guarding the set right. Now all of a sudden he's hit 3. Now he's cooking, and we had a problem at that point. He ends up going 7 of 9 from 3, ends up with 29 points. They're a really good team, but it's the main reason they won this game. We didn't do a good job with him.
Mike Rodak from AL.com. You mentioned JQ was the only player at that voluntary shoot-around. Is that, just for context, is that something you'd expect more players to be at?
Yeah, you know what? We had one this morning, and we had 3 guys come this morning, and then he was the one last night. And we kind of made it voluntary because we wanted guys to be smart with making sure their legs were fresh. And some guys had gone the night before, and he didn't. So then he went. You know, we had shooting times at a high school gym every night here because our guys get in the gym a lot on their own back home. So I thought he was. I mean, he shot it really well last night. We had most of the teams. I think all the teams gave up their. They get a 20-minute shooting time here. We actually kept ours, and 3 guys came as a voluntary deal. So, you know, Shaq and Keon were in this morning. They were in the night before. Our main guys got the most of the shots up, got in a bulk of those shooting times. But, yeah, JQ was the only one that came last night.
And just as a follow-up to that, just overall, where did you kind of see the buy-in from this team throughout the course of the year?
You know what? It's a good question. I thought at times it was as good as it was the year before. You know, you looking now, I thought maybe we handled adversity a little, not quite as well. You know, sometimes shots weren't going in. I thought effort waned a little bit here and there. You know, I think our maturity wasn't quite maybe what the year before was, to be honest with you, just to be able to handle some adversity. So, but I thought guys wanted to do well. I thought they were great teammates. They're a good group to be around. You know, I thought they bought into being good teammates. They just, the understanding of what it takes to win at this level. And again, they talk about trying to get old, stay old. Like, we had a lot of young, inexperienced guys. I mean, look at what we had tonight, you know. JD plays 36 minutes. He's a freshman. Keon Ellis is in his second year of Division I basketball. You know, we didn't have a senior that had played 4 years for us. You know, Noah Gurley transferred from a mid-major, first year in high major basketball. We had a lot of guys that were not. Charles Bediako started for us as a freshman. Just the buy-in was there from most of them most of the time. Just, you know, we definitely didn't have the experience Notre Dame had, you know, with their guys that have played a lot of games. And we just, maturity, experience, those things go a long ways. You know, Herb Jones is showing how good he was last year in the NBA this year. You know, Primo's playing well. Petty was pretty good. You know, you think of those guys, Bruner, Reese. Bruner's a fifth-year senior. Reese, Petty, Herb are all seniors. Primo's a really good player. You lose those 5 guys, you don't really have seniors that have been in the program for that long to step up. But I think that's made. I don't think buy-in was necessarily the issue as much as maturity and experience were.
Nick Kelly with the Tuscaloosa News. In terms of, I mean, when you're coaching a team through a roller coaster season like this, I mean, what are some things that you learned or you take away from this season kind of moving forward as a coach?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, I think every little thing matters, and you know that as a coach, but like sometimes when you win, it's a lot easier to teach after a loss. Sometimes we got to figure out better ways to teach. You know, sometimes shooting masks a lot of sins, and those sins don't get fixed because you won the game and they don't think they're that big a deal. Like, you know, I think managing guys, you know, mental state, if you will, through wins is really important. Like, you got to be able to convince them that we've got to change and get better, even though we won. Sometimes through losses, you got to be a little more positive. You know, we did certain things well. We just missed shots to keep up. But I'm still a little frustrated. You know, we ended up as 6th seed. With the wins that we had, if we would have won the games we lost that we should have won, we would have probably been a 3 seed maybe, 2, 3 seeds, somewhere in there. If you're a 2 or 3 seed, you're not playing Notre Dame in the first round. You know, our loss at Missouri, at Georgia, some of those other losses that we were definitely the better team then, those come back to haunt you at the end, and they did that this year. You know, maybe we could withstand Quinerley going down if we'd been a 3 seed today and played at, you know, 14 seed instead of having to play at Notre Dame that was really experienced like we did. So we got to do a better job keeping our guys engaged after big wins, you know, with the effort they need to continue to win like that, even if our shots aren't dropping or whatever it is. But you learn a lot every year as a coach. We certainly learned a lot as coaches this year too.
2 more questions, one in the back, and then
Yeah, Coach, with Javon's injury, what are the next steps to determine the extent of it and how
Yeah,
what
he's going
that
to have to
looks
get
like?
an MRI. Our trainer and team doctor will get him home. I think we're flying home tonight and get him an MRI as quick as we can. They'll figure out what it is, and then disappointing for him because he's going to graduate this spring. You know, he was going to test the draft process. His plan was to go be a professional. It's going to obviously put a big kink in those plans, and, you know, he's a really good kid. His parents are great people. His parents were in there at halftime. It's just a tough situation for him. But, you know, the doctor didn't think it was good. We don't want to speculate on what it is yet till we get an MRI. I don't know.
Katie Wyndham, Bama Central. Coach, you know, obviously losing JQ had a big impact on the game, but how did Charles getting in foul trouble and ultimately fouling out kind of affect what you're able to do on offense and defense, especially in the second half?
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, you look at the box score, he's the only guy on our team that was positive in the plus-minus. He was big on our defensive plan with them. Atkinson's the only guy they play that doesn't shoot threes, and he's really good. Charles did a pretty good job one-on-one with him, better than our other guys. That enabled us to just build out and not have to help at all. You know, us putting Charles back in when we did with the 4 fouls kind of showed you the importance of him. You know, we had to go with him. We were starting to lose the lead too much and got a cheap foul. And you look at his fouls, I mean, in a moving screen foul on an offensive rebound, that was questionable. He had the blocking foul down there guarding a dribbler. Wasn't like he was fouling guarding Atkinson. You know, he had some tough calls on him. It's the way it goes in basketball, period, but for sure in the NCAA tournament. Our plan without him wasn't as good as our plan with him. And so, you know, him being in foul trouble didn't hurt us quite as much as Quinerley not being able to play at all after the first 3 minutes, but it definitely hurt us a lot today.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate all you guys that covered us all year, too. You guys have done a good job for us.